January 2025 soul story. If you have a sun rising or moon in the sign, this is your reading. Welcome to a new year. Welcome to my channel. It's Romy here. We're going to open up this month with the energy of the Three of Pentacles. You're definitely shaping a new path this month. You know, sometimes life happens so fast we can barely keep up, and sometimes things feel like they are taking an eternity. And you might be sort of walking almost like both realities of this through the course of the next month. I see you continuing to ask your guides, the universe, show me the way, let me see what I need to see. What I think is really important to understand is that things are showing up, people are showing up that feel like they are offering constructive energy, energy that you can work with, that is going to support some progress for you. And what you're bringing to the table is definitely heart discernment. You know, you have really lived and learned through the last 12 months, and you're still processing in that early part of January, right? Now, we've got a lot of water coming through in the first couple of weeks. We've got asteroid goddess Vesta in Scorpio, and she's holding space for some pretty profound transformational healing, and you know, will be incredibly loyal to the things that she knows need to be addressed and acknowledged. And you can free your energy up so much more effectively if you are really facing things early on in the month of January. Now, we also have Venus moving into Pisces on the 3rd of the month, and there's some good feeling coming in around that. Again, I feel like you have an opportunity actually to see some of the best of people. Perhaps that's been a little bit thin on the ground lately. The other thing to bear in mind, though, of course, is that there is an increased amount of sensitivity in the early part of January. You know, you still have that sort of I don't know, slight anxiety from the excess of the holiday season. And we also have this Mars retrograde energy coming out of your sign and shifting into Cancer on the 6th. Here, you know, people can get a little bit overly sensitive and triggered by things. And I think you're mindful of it. I think that Three of Pentacles definitely supports an energy where you're reading the room pretty effectively and you know how to handle people. Now, the question is, you know, even in the days that lead up to the 6th, you know, what have you learned with this Mars back spinning through your sign, you know, and as it moves back into your 12th house, this is an opportunity for something to be surrendered and released. But I think the main thing that I see coming through is just actually that you're seeing something so differently. And I also want to say that in January, like, context is needed. It's everything, in fact. And I think that, again, you're sort of looking back and realizing maybe not that you were wrong, but I feel like that you can see things for what they are in such a different way through January. And so that increased sensitivity, I do feel, can be very supportive for you. It also indicates that there are some things that you want to take care of behind the scenes. Maybe you don't want to trouble people, or maybe it's stuff that you feel, you know, is so sensitive that actually it's not really in anyone's best interest for it to be aired or discussed or communicated early on in January. And you go right ahead, because I think it's going to feel like really cathartic for you, again, to deal with some things and sort of put something in order, okay? There's a lot more compassion to be tapped into, but there's also this need for accountability. And I think you're holding yourself to account, but you're also going to be holding others to the same standard through January as well. And as we approach that full moon in Cancer, you know, we're working with Capricorn energy, which definitely helps to stabilize the situation. Mercury also shifts into the sign of Capricorn on the 8th, but we've got the Nine of Cups here, and it's almost just like, look, you know what you're working towards, you know what matters, you know what's on the line here. Here's the heart discernment coming in as well, because some of the desires that have made it through this sort of transition into this new year, that you in fact realize, this is still important to me, this is still something I want to work towards, I'm not letting this go as I release a lot of the energy of 2024. There's this realization again of what it's going to take. And, I think that there's also a swiftness in terms of needing to act on something, so that people are actually really clear that this is a priority and this is something that, you're going to have some time and space to be able to focus upon. Because it's like, if you don't set that out early on in the month, it feels again that people are kind of latching on and distracting you, or putting you forward for things that almost like eats up more of the time and energy and space that you need. Now, your sixth house in Capricorn energy, right? So there's this desire in terms of how you want to be of service, how that's impacting like the work that you do and how you do it. I see just a huge shift in how you approach something happening in the month of January. And again, the full moon in Cancer brings about a realization, and particularly helping you to reflect on how you've emotionally handled different situations. And the Page of Pentacles here is bringing forth this earnest kind of quality, I think, of like wanting to do the right thing by yourself, the right thing by other people, and also knowing what that investment's going to mean and what it's going to look like. Now, there might be some sort of interesting offer or invitation, and you do appreciate, and I think you can see quite clearly that, there's a lot more that needs to happen in order for something to be realized, or for an outcome that somebody's talking about to actually materialize. Nonetheless, I feel like the intention is pure there, and maybe it begins with somebody saying, you know what, maybe I got it wrong, or maybe there's even an apology or some sort of context being provided. I think you're in a much more magnanimous energy in January overall, actually, Leo. And I think, again, that can really help to lead and demonstrate to others the right way to do things, the right way to approach things. So that full moon in Cancer helping to sort of draw a line in the sand, if you like, and also help you to reflect on where perhaps there's been a specific type of emotion that you've been holding on to that isn't really serving and isn't supporting or helping you. I think that there's an investment that you want to keep making. And again, along with that Three of Pentacles, I think you're on the right track and moving in the right direction. As the sun shifts into Aquarius on the 19th, there's your seventh house being illuminated. A little bit of a shake-up is set to happen. And maybe that's needed, especially if the Hanged Man has sort of put you in slight limbo land or feeling like you're just in a little bit of a holding pattern. I do sense that the first couple of weeks in January that, many people won't be able to see the wood for the trees, and so you're going to have to almost wait. And then there's like this sort of rush of energy and this big kind of wake-up call, big realization that seems to come through. I think that there are also the tendencies with the Mars retrograde in Cancer. There's a sort of passive-aggressive energy. And I think, you've learned a lot from the sign shifting backspin through you, your energy in the last few weeks. And I think you're going to be the one that calls it out. And it's just like, no, it's not okay to avoid this or suppress this or not to deal with this. So you're the one sort of pressing forward with that, energy. Now, adversity is not going to stop. And, you can't let the setbacks stop you. You have to almost allow them to help you to want something even more. And when that comes through, like that heart discernment, that heart resiliency, again, is what really sort of helps to pave the way, if you like. This is what I mean also when we talk about the fact that you're walking both paths in January. You've got this sort of things taking an eternity, and then all of a sudden things happening and shifting so fast. Now, you've got a Five of Pentacles here, so you're going to have to make sure that you don't allow anything that is unfolding, other people's stuff, what they're having to say, what they're expressing, or even if you are moving into a position to try to call something out, that it doesn't take more from you than you have to give. I think if you can come at things from a place and a perspective of thinking about what is this impact going to do to me after the event, rather than thinking about it beforehand, that's going to perhaps shift and change on your desire to want to sort of get involved or be a part of something. I also think that acknowledgement of where there needs to be more poured in to sort of top something back up, to bring something back to a level, back to balance, whether that be in a relationship, in your bank account, in your health and vitality. There's definitely an awareness with the Five that there's some scarcity and some loss energy. And, again, in the early part of January, it can be sort of up close and personal, as, you might be feeling a bit low, just with all of the endings that sort of come through with that end of the year. And the thing to remind yourself of is, again, what personal season and cycle are you in? Never mind what people are trying to tell you is the right thing for you to be doing at this time of year. Again, this is where your compassion comes through, but also the accountability to know, well, here are the things that have brought this to light, or here are the things that I need to address to ensure this doesn't happen again. Like I said, you are shaping a new path, and the new moon in Aquarius coming in on the 29th is honestly like a silver lining. Now, 7th house is going to be mirroring some things regarding, your key relationships in life, and there may be an opportunity for new people to sort of come in, or for you to almost put out to the universe, this is the type of support that I'm looking for and that I need. I think that 3 of Pentacles absolutely wants to bring in constructive, progressive energy for you in this month, and I think that's entirely possible. But I think there's more than a couple of distractions that also seem to get in the way and show up for you. Now, the new moon Aquarius on the 29th is also joined by the lunar new year as we move into the wood snake. We're really going to learn how to keep shedding our skin through the course of the next 12 months. And we also have Uranus direct in Taurus on the 30th. Okay, there's a little bit of that unexpected surprise energy that could be tied into the tower. Maybe something that felt like it was going somewhere then seems to take a backspin a little bit, but it feels like it's temporary. It sort of rights itself again quite quickly. We've got Sun trining with Jupiter, so there's something auspicious, and maybe even the initial setback or potential delay, or the fact that something's going to require more than what you originally thought it would, is something that you want to see in the light of day, like sooner rather than later. So it ends up being a super blessing for you. I also want to call out to you another couple of dates. The 21st is going to see Pluto in Aquarius conjunct with the Sun. So this Cazimi energy at 1 degree sort of brings about this release point, this trigger point. We lean into something that perhaps feels a little bit uncomfortable, but ultimately ends up being incredibly transformative. It sort of feels like that could be in and around that date that you're sort of experiencing something connected into this. We also, though, have on the 25th Venus trining with Mars. Some real sparks fly, and I think there's something about the passion that you bring to the table and the heart that you have in regards to something that really matters and is important to you, that's going to make a huge difference in terms of how other people see the value of something. There's also a lot of romantic energy to tap into. I think you've got some offers, some invitations. There are 9 of Cups, coming in. Venus in Pisces, full moon in Cancer. If you are focused and prioritizing in and around that experience, just make sure you don't get in your own way and self-sabotage. Sometimes we can sort of get off to a great start and then feel like things stall quite quickly. But there's maybe some things coming to light that are continuing to support you in your healing experience around love and relationships, especially with Aquarian energy in that 7th house. Remember when I said to you, context is everything. You're also asking the universe repeatedly, let me see what I need to see. And the universe is responding for you actually this month in quite a significant way, Leo. So will we always like what we see? Not necessarily, but it puts us in a place of feeling more empowered and giving us more clarity. And that in and of itself is going to ensure that you know exactly what you're walking into at any given moment in the month of January. I don't feel that haze of confusion is over you. I think you can absolutely see it for what it is. If you then make an informed choice around wanting to have the experience anyway, because there's something to learn, that's perfect. There's never a right or wrong here, okay? I also think that you have some real sweet moments, and you're going to want to amplify and sit in the energy of that. It's really easy sometimes to kind of almost take the entirety of a month and sort of pick out the 1 or 2 more challenging aspects and sort of write it off as saying that was like a really difficult month, or that was an awful time. And actually, if you wrote it down, or if you really tracked back and you were super honest with yourself, these were like really fleeting moments of things that you already understood or knew to be true, and were showing you how you were emotionally processing and handling. And actually there was so much goodness and so much progression and so much that you could work with that was supporting expansion. that it would help you to see it in a totally different light. And I see you doing that actually at the end of the month, kind of sitting down with yourself and going, well, actually, let's have a real reality check about what happened in January. And what you're going to find is it was actually a way more supportive than perhaps at times through the month you were necessarily thinking that it was being towards you, okay? Our last 3 cards we look at in the extended reading, Leo. So if you're going to join me, you'll find the link below. We talk for another 25 minutes or so. We're going to look at a personal and a relationship card as well for the month ahead for you. And I'm just going to go ahead and clarify these cards and see the direction that we'll be taking that reading for you. We've got the 6 of Air coming in and the World. We've got a 2 of Earth showing up and the energy of the Lovers. So you can check out over on my website, romywiser.com. Interesting, another Tower and another 5 of Pentacles coming in there. romywiser.com, you're going to find all my sacred titles. So my new journal, which has been shipping all the way through the holiday season. If you received yours, do let me know. This is the soul companion you need to be working with in 2025 and beyond. You'll also find my oracle deck, another hangman there, and my book Moon Musings. So all of these sacred titles working together harmoniously to just help you when you need it most. All of the decks that I use are always listed also below. Okay, so let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle and see what is showing up for you for the month of January. What do we have here? Okay, Spirit Owl, we've got Cosmic Rebellion. We've got the new moon, deliberate intention. We've got the energy of the gathering, golden ribbons of light showing up. We've also got waterfalls of white light. Okay. And finally, we're also going to pull an oracle for you for January, Unicorn Oracle for Leo. What are we bringing through for the month ahead? We've got Not a Clock, Time. All right, Leo, thanks for being here and for tuning into the channel. I hope you'll join me for the extended. It helps me to keep showing up and supports my work. And I'm going to wish you a beautiful month ahead. You take good care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon.